Lynn White was about to lose everything. She was facing eviction from her home in Long Beach, California. She'd already hired a lawyer, a real one, from a tenant advocacy network, and gone to trial. She lost. The penalties were stacking up. Over $55,000 in potential fines. More than $18,000 in back rent. A judge had ruled against her. She had no more money for legal help. She had no legal training. What she had was a $20 a month subscription to ChatGPT, and nothing left to lose. So she opened her laptop and started typing. What happened over the next several months upended everything that lawyers, judges, and legal scholars thought they knew about who gets justice in America, and who gets to fight for it. The American legal system runs on access. Access to lawyers, to legal research, to the knowledge of how to structure an argument, file a motion, and respond to procedural rulings that can end your case before it ever reaches a judge's ears. This access is not evenly distributed. In civil cases, evictions, family disputes, debt collection, small claims, research consistently finds that 80% of the legal needs of low-income Americans go unmet. Not because the law doesn't protect them, but because navigating the law requires resources that most people don't have. An eviction case in California involves procedural rules, filing deadlines, statutory provisions, case law, and a judge who has seen hundreds of similar cases. The landlord's lawyer has seen them too. The tenant, who typically cannot afford representation, is navigating all of that for the first time, under stress, with their home on the line. Lynn White was not a lawyer. She was not a paralegal. She had used AI to make videos for her small music production business. She understood the technology in a practical way, as a tool for getting things done. When her appeal was denied, she didn't think of ChatGPT as a legal assistant. She thought of it the way she thought of any other tool. She gave it the case documents. She explained the situation. She asked questions. ChatGPT helped her identify an error in the trial judge's procedural decisions, a detail that her own attorney had missed. It helped her research the Los Angeles COVID-era housing regulations she believed protected her. It helped her draft her responses to the court. It was like having God up there responding to my questions, she said afterward. She won. The eviction notice was overturned. The $55,000 in penalties disappeared. She had spent $40. Christopher Brock took a different path to the same conclusion. Brock lives outside Cincinnati, in an unincorporated part of Hamilton County, Ohio. In May 2022, he built a small shed on his property. He'd seen similar sheds throughout his neighborhood. He didn't think he needed a permit. The county told him he did. His application was denied. He appealed. He lost. He appealed again. He lost again. A year passed. The legal machine kept ruling against him and he kept not understanding why. Brock ran a Facebook group called ChatGPT for Business and Life. He understood the technology better than most people. So he started feeding it his case, the county ordinances, the denial letters, the administrative hearing transcripts. He asked ChatGPT to help him understand the rules and find the arguments he was missing. He won his case in July 2023. The county reversed its position. The thing about Brock's approach was that it wasn't naive. He was specifically aware of the risk of AI hallucinations, the confident, authoritative errors that AI systems produce when they don't know the answer and invent one anyway. He structured his questions carefully. He cross-checked the legal references ChatGPT gave him against real records before submitting anything. I was aware of the areas to be careful of, he said, like hallucination in cases. That awareness made all the difference. Not everyone approached it that carefully. 2 years before Lynn White won her appeal, a New York attorney named Stephen Schwartz was trying to win a personal injury case for his client, a man who claimed he had been injured on an Avianca Airlines flight. Schwartz used ChatGPT to research similar cases. ChatGPT returned a list of citations. Cases with real-sounding names, real-sounding case numbers, real-sounding judges. Schwartz submitted them in a court filing. The opposing lawyers couldn't find the cases. They didn't exist. ChatGPT had invented them. The judge held a hearing. Schwartz admitted he had used ChatGPT. He said he hadn't known it could fabricate case law. He said he thought it was a search engine. He hadn't verified any of the citations. On June 22, 2023, the court fined Schwartz and his colleague $5,000. required them to send letters of explanation to every judge whose name had been attached to the fake rulings ChatGPT had generated. Schwartz had 32 years of experience. He had a law degree from New York Law School. He had practiced in federal court for years. And he had submitted invented court cases because an AI told him they existed. The contrast between Brock and White, careful, skeptical, specific in their questioning, and Schwartz, credulous, unverifying, treating ChatGPT as authoritative, illustrated something that law schools are still working out how to teach. AI in legal work is not a shortcut. It's a leverage tool that amplifies your judgment in both directions. What made the difference between White and Schwartz wasn't their legal training. White had none. Schwartz had 32 years. What made the difference was how they treated the AI's output. White used ChatGPT to understand the law she was operating in. She then verified what she found. She asked the model to explain procedural concepts. She asked it to identify what arguments had worked in similar cases. Then she checked those cases independently. She used the AI as a research assistant, not as an authority. Schwartz used ChatGPT as an authority. He asked it for citations. It gave him citations. He submitted them without checking. The irony is precise: the person with no legal training used the tool correctly. The person with 3 decades of legal training used it dangerously. And the difference was not intelligence or experience. It was the specific mistake of assuming that a system which sounds confident must be accurate. Large language models are optimized to produce plausible, coherent text. Legal citations that don't exist are indistinguishable, at the surface level, from legal citations that do. The model doesn't know the difference. It produces output that fits the pattern of a legal citation. Whether the underlying document exists is not something the model verifies, because the model doesn't access databases. It predicts text. If you don't know that, the citations look real. If you do know that, you check everything. By 2025, the pattern had become a crisis and a phenomenon simultaneously. Researcher Damien Charlton had built a database tracking court decisions where AI had been used. He documented 282 cases in the United States and more than 130 internationally, all cases where the use of AI had been specifically addressed by a court. On one side of the ledger, lawyers and judges submitting documents with fabricated citations, hallucinated case law, non-existent precedents. A Denver attorney accepted a 90-day suspension from practice. A federal judge in Mississippi issued, and then quickly retracted, an order that contained false information AI had provided. On the other side, Lynn White, who saved her home. Brock, who kept his shed. And hundreds of other ordinary people who, for $20 a month, had accessed something that had previously been available only to those who could pay lawyers by the hour. By October 2025, NBC News reported that a rising number of litigants were using AI to assist in their cases. Some were starting to win. A tenant in Chicago used Claude to identify a procedural error in an eviction filing and had the case dismissed. A small business owner in Atlanta used ChatGPT to draft a response to a debt collection lawsuit and successfully argued that the statute of limitations had passed. A retiree in Phoenix navigating a Medicare dispute used AI to understand his appeal rights and won a reversal. None of these people had lawyers. All of them had laptops. The legal profession was watching. The American Bar Association issued guidance in 2023 recommending that lawyers understand AI tools before using them and verify all AI-generated content. Some state bars went further, requiring disclosure when AI had assisted in drafting court filings. A coalition of federal judges issued standing orders in early 2024 mandating certification that all citations had been verified against real documents. These were responses to the lawyer side of the problem. They said nothing about the expanding group of non-lawyers using AI to fight cases they couldn't afford attorneys for. Some legal scholars called this a democratization of access. For the first time, a person with no legal training could research their rights, understand the procedural landscape, and construct an argument that courts would take seriously. The $20 a month subscription was doing something that legal aid organizations, with their chronic underfunding and overwhelming caseloads, had never been able to do at scale. Others were more cautious. AI-generated legal arguments, reviewed by no one with legal training, could also lead people in the wrong direction. A tenant who filed the wrong motion at the wrong time, guided by an AI that misunderstood the local procedural rules, might lose a case they would otherwise have won. The democratization of access was also the democratization of risk. The access gap in legal representation is not new. Public defenders in criminal cases are chronically underfunded. Legal aid organizations for civil matters turn away the majority of people who contact them. The gap between having a legal right and being able to exercise it has existed for as long as the legal profession has existed. What AI changed is the barrier to entry. Before, navigating the legal system without a lawyer required understanding a system that was designed by lawyers, for lawyers, a system of forms, procedures, deadlines, and terminology that assumed a certain level of legal education. Without that education, people made procedural errors. They missed deadlines. They filed the wrong documents in the wrong courts. They lost cases they might have won. ChatGPT doesn't make the legal system simpler. But it makes the legal language accessible. It can explain what a demurrer is. It can explain when you need to file a response. It can help someone understand what the other side's argument actually means. That translation layer, from legal complexity to plain English, is something lawyers provide at $300 an hour and AI provides for $20 a month. The American legal system was not designed with artificial intelligence in mind. It was designed with the assumption that lawyers would be lawyers, credentialed, regulated, bound by professional obligations and subject to sanctions when they lied to courts. What happens when anyone can produce a document that looks like a legal brief? What happens when a retired music producer in Long Beach can identify procedural errors that a trained attorney missed? The judges are writing new rules. Courts are requiring disclosure when AI was used. Some are requiring certification. Some are sanctioning lawyers who didn't check. But the $20 a month subscription is not going away. Somewhere right now, someone is fighting an eviction, a debt, a zoning decision, an insurance denial, without a lawyer, without money, without connections to the legal world. And they have a laptop. And a question. And $40. Lynn White had all three. She used them. She stayed in her home. Is that justice? Or is it something else? The lawyers who got fined for fake citations will tell you the system is under threat. The tenant who kept her home will tell you the system was never working for her anyway. What do you call a legal system where a $20 a month subscription gives ordinary people access to something that was supposed to require a law degree, and the lawyers with the law degrees are the ones making the mistakes? Is that a broken system? Or is that the system finally working for someone it wasn't designed for? If you think more people need to hear this story, share it. And subscribe, because this isn't the last time AI changes someone's life.